Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome to another discussion video from TheBitBlock. As always, I am joined by Roger's Base.
What's going on, everybody? Josh, is your mic better today?
My mic is fixed. We had a Star Fox discussion where it was we talked about its delay, and unfortunately, my mic settings were changed because I traveled with the camera and microphone, and it got, I don't know, messed up in my suitcase or something, and so I didn't realize it. But this time, as you can hear, everything is nice and smooth and sexy.
Nice and clean quality.
Clean, showered quality. Roger, today we have got a fun little topic, I think. We are going to be fantasizing about what we would do if we were the president of Nintendo.
Ooh,
that's a bit.
Right.
That's a big one. This is going to be a crazy one, I think.
Yeah, I have a feeling it's going to be nuts. I honestly think I want you to start this, though, because you've already described kind of what this video is like to me, and I'm not still exactly sure, like, what you want me to talk about.
I will lead the way.
So how about you begin?
Okay,
right.
So but just to clarify, we're going to kick it off by talking about things Nintendo has already done, decisions they have already made that we would maybe disagree with or agree with, things from the past, okay? Then we're going to look to the future and talk about what we would do as the president of Nintendo moving ahead, okay?
Yeah.
So, I, Joshua Thomas, as the new president of Nintendo, hi, how you doing?
Good. I'm glad you're president now.
Okay,
That's good.
Thank you. I will be a very fierce president.
Lots of Pikmin games, I'm assuming.
We've already got 12 of those in development.
There we go. Great.
No. Okay, so looking in the past, I'm sure most people would agree, I would have been skeptical about the Wii U in general. First of all, the name, I definitely would not have called it the Wii U. I will say, though, before the Wii was even retired, I did have strong feelings that they should keep the Wii branding because I really did think, okay, this is a very popular name. We should keep it. However, I wouldn't have added U to it. I would have thought of a name that would have felt more sequel, made people know this is the new Wii. I got to get the new Wii. It's all new, and so I would have kept.
I was really shocked, though. I got to say this. I was really shocked because I was there in the audience at E3 during the press conference when they announced Wii U, and I fully anticipated that it was going to be called Wii 2, and 2 was going to be TOO in small little fonts.
That would have been better.
I really thought that was. Yeah, I'm so shocked they didn't end up doing that.
Yep. So I definitely would have done that. That's the first thing that I would have not done in the past.
No.
Another thing was I probably would have. I mean, we gotta. I guess in a way we're exaggerating what it means to be the president of Nintendo because this, for example, is probably not something the president of Nintendo would get involved with. Maybe, but I would have, instead of having the DLC pack for Mario Kart 8 be centered on random Nintendo characters entering the Mario Kart universe, I would have said, no, hold off on that. Don't do that. Save that for the whole identity of the next Mario Kart game, and instead give us DLC with a really fleshed out battle mode. Battle mode is what this game needs, and also a mission mode. Mission and battle mode would have been the DLC packs I would have done for Mario Kart 8. That would have made it a very well-rounded experience, and it would have made the next Mario Kart game that much more special because the whole identity would have focused on being this Nintendo All-Stars Mario Kart thing. I think in the future they're going to do that even more, and I'm a little, not saddened, but I feel like it's going to kind of take the wind out of its sails if they do that again, because we'll just be like, oh, this is like the DLC for Mario Kart 8. So that would have been something I would have done in the past differently.
I know one thing that I would have done in the past differently, had I been president of Nintendo, would have, instead of releasing the new 3DS XL as the primary new 3DS system in North America, I would have absolutely had it the original new 3DS.
Yes.
I think the first, not the XL version, the new 3DS would have been the one that they released, and then I would have absolutely reached out to third parties and churned out some awesome faceplates. I would have kind of cornered that market, and we would have made a lot more money that way. So that's that would have been the first thing.
President Roger, I'm going to sign those papers. Yes, I like that.
All right. How about we're co-president? We're co-president.
This would be amazing. We would run the company so beautifully.
We would do great things. And I think another thing that I would have done is when Capcom announced that they are now open to a buyout, I would have immediately acquisitioned Capcom. That would have been one of the first things that I did. They have such a rich library of IPs, and to make all of those IPs exclusive to Nintendo would have not only driven so much more people to the Wii U or the 3DS or whatever, it would have also completely expanded the IP library moving forward. So that would have meant that Monster Hunter, Resident Evil, Mega Man, Street Fighter. All of those series would have been exclusive to Nintendo platforms. And, you know, now they've got Street Fighter V exclusive to PS4. That could have been a Nintendo game. And, you know, Monster Hunter's kind of already a Nintendo exclusive franchise at this point. They haven't really had a Monster Hunter on a Sony platform for a while. The mainline games have been on 3DS.
Yeah.
I'm presuming the next mainline one, if it's for a next-gen system, will probably be cross-release on NX and PS4, similar to what's going on with Dragon Quest. But that honestly would have been something that I would have done right off the bat as soon as they announced that they were open for a buyout. I would have immediately purchased that. And really, Mega Man is already basically a Nintendo character as it is right now. He's in Smash Brothers. I would love to see an EAD, or I guess now it's EPD, developed Mega Man game. I think they could do wonders with that series. They could really give it the boost of innovation that it needs. And on top of that, too, I think Nintendo could really use a mature franchise, and since they already had Resident Evil 4 exclusive to GameCube for the time being, and I love the Resident Evil franchise, it's, you know, it has interesting characters, it's one of the few horror games that I actually like. I think it would have been great to have that exclusive to Nintendo platforms moving forward. So, yeah, that's the other big thing I would have done. I would have bought out Capcom, and I would have released the new 3DS instead of the new 3DS XL.
Both of those would have been very, very good decisions, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure it's a big, hefty chunk of change to deal out to buy Capcom, but the money you're going to make in the long run would just be huge. Like, just announcing that would be huge for them in general.
Yeah, I mean, they have all those Amiibo profits now. Put that money to good use.
Exactly. So, one other thing that I think I would have done differently, and again, this is, you know, stretching what a president is, I probably would not have greenlit Super Mario 3D World. I probably would have said, this is too samey. This is just new Super Mario Brothers with kind of a different perspective. Mr. Miyamoto, we need that big, exciting 3D Mario game that defines the generation and leaps forward. This game is not that. Let's not do this. Maybe do a sequel to 3D Land on the 3DS. But for the Wii U, we need a big, special Mario game. So that would definitely been something I would have been up in arms with over back in the day.
I know another thing, too, in terms of things that just are kind of mind-blowing that hasn't happened yet. And I understand that they have the new GameCube engine that they used for Wind Waker HD, so I know that why they're kind of against it. But I'm really shocked as to why they don't put GameCube games on Virtual Console. We have Wii games on Virtual Console.
DS games.
And yet we don't have GameCube games. We have DS games on Virtual Console.
Yeah.
Why are there not GameCube games? It's a huge, missed opportunity, I feel like. They could have added a lot of stuff. Even things like Pikmin 2, I mean, there's a lot of GameCube games. Obviously, Melee is a big one. I know Melee, they had weird, like, Sakurai's talked about this at length before, but, you know, he's kind of like, he's acknowledged that Melee, the glitches and the things that make it good, would be very hard to transfer over completely through an emulator. But, you know, outside of Melee, there's plenty of good games. Star Fox Assault, Kirby Air Ride,
and
the list goes on and on.
There's some smaller games on the GameCube that are probably not going to come back, at least not anytime soon, so it would be nice to have them as like a virtual console release. For example, Wave Race Blue Storm on the GameCube.
Yeah.
It's a cool game,
that would
but,
be great.
you know, when are they ever going to put a Wave Race game into development again? I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon, so
probably not for a long way.
Lots of things like that where we'll probably not see a sequel, or if we do, it's way off, would be great as a virtual console thing. And just imagine the money. I mean, GameCube games sell for like almost full price on eBay, so it's a good move, President.
Thanks, man. Thank you very much, co-president.
All right, so do you want to, let's talk a little bit more moving ahead, because a lot of things on my mind
Sure.
right now are kind of future-related stuff.
Sure.
This is...
well, I think... Oh, you want to go?
No, I'm
Go
just
ahead.
going to throw something in there because it's relevant to something you said in the past about, like, getting Capcom on board. In the future, I would definitely I'd keep my eyes peeled constantly for studios that seem very promising, and then I would buy them and have them work on games for the platform. For example, Shinin Multimedia is a fantastic developer.
Yes.
They are small, but oh my god, are they competent. Like, they make games that look better than games that are designed by full teams. I'm not just speaking visually, I'm speaking like just the ideas and just how well-rounded they are. Like, even something like Art of Balance, and now they've got this Fast Racing League game coming out.
Fast Racing is literally the F-Zero game
Right.
I've always wanted.
I would
it's
absolutely
so
talk to them and be like, listen, we want to get some of our Nintendo designers teamed up with you. We want you guys to work on sort of a smaller team to bring F-Zero to life for Nintendo NX. And they could absolutely do it. And it would be amazing. So, yeah, that is one thing.
Do you know where Shinin is based out of? If they're in Japan?
They are not in Japan. They're not in North America. They are, I believe, Europe. They're in Europe somewhere. So,
are there any
Sweden?
Are there any Nintendo European developers? Because I know we have NST in North America and Renmin. I don't think there is a developer out of Europe, so they could have actually just transformed Shinnen into that developer.
Yeah, they could. I mean, I'm sure somebody's going to respond with some sort of developer from Europe that we're not thinking of. But yeah. And another, I think Nintendo would also be wise to buy Sega. Sega's really in kind of a, I think, bad. I don't know if they're actually up for sale, but I definitely would talk to Sega and be like, hey, listen, we want to actually partner up with you guys and make you second party and have you work on games exclusively for our platforms.
Yeah.
I
agree. I think Sega, though, more so than Capcom, has their foot in too many other business ordeals. Like, Sega makes pachinko machines, and Sega does other stuff as opposed to just making video games, whereas Capcom is solely a video game company, so I think it'd be difficult to acquisition all of the IPs of Sega solely for use on Nintendo platforms. But I agree. I think Sega is one of their strongest partners, and they should utilize them more. Yeah,
I mean, I think Sega has a lot of, popular characters that are not really getting the love and attention they deserve. I mean, Sonic, I'm not a huge Sonic fan, but I know that there's something there that, I mean, you make a great Sonic game again, and that would be amazing, because even with bad Sonic games, there's still people that follow the damn brand for some reason. So imagine what could happen if you made Sonic games that were of Nintendo quality. And even stuff like Super Monkey Ball. What the hell happened to Super Monkey Ball?
Oh, I love Super Monkey Ball. I think you actually, you noticed these when you came over for E3. I have the AA and Gon statues on my desk. I love that game.
Yeah, but
I think one series in particular, though, while we're talking about Sega, that I would love to see make a resurgence, and it seems like it would be a perfect tie-in with Splatoon, would be Jet Set Radio. I mean, the aesthetic of Jet Set Radio is so in line with what they're doing with Splatoon that it seems kind of crazy to me they haven't had some type of crossover yet. Either Jet Set costumes in Splatoon, or adding the Inklings as fun playable characters, and maybe a download only version of Jet Set. I would love to see that franchise come back, and I think it would have a welcome home on Nintendo platforms.
Yeah, so partnering with Sega, I think, could have a lot of benefits.
I agree with you.
Now let's talk about there's two more topics I wanted to touch on in this, and we don't want this to go too long because we could talk for hours about us being president of Nintendo. One topic I want to touch on is how long we think the 3DS can go for until they have to figure out what they're going to do next. And the other topic is, of course, the Nintendo NX and how we would handle that launch. Roger, go.
All right, so 3DS I actually think can survive longer than Wii U can at this point.
It has already. It is.
Yeah. But I mean, in going into the future, I feel like there's other games that they could still put on 3DS, other major games, things like Pokemon Z, like the inevitable Pokemon Z. On top of that, DS had 2 full Pokemon generations on it, so they could really milk the 3DS for another full generation, plus the 3rd game for X and Y. And those are system sellers. Look, there's Monster Hunter X, or Monster Hunter Cross, whatever you want to call it, coming out in Japan. Monster Hunter games have always done well on 3DS. They could easily port that over as a late 2016 game in North America. I think they could take full advantage of the new 3DS hardware and make more games for it before they end up releasing the handheld version of NX. And then tying in with what you were talking about, because I think these two things kind of go hand in hand, I believe if there is a console and a handheld version of the NX, they should release the console version this holiday in 2016 and then release the handheld version in summer of 2017. And at least give the 3DS a little bit more time. They still have other games that could be in development. I think it would still sell throughout the holiday season, and then that way, people would have the console that they've been craving with the amazing looking HD games while still having their sort of handheld stuff fixed for the holiday season with the new 3DS.
Right. Yeah, I agree. It's weird. It's almost kind of bizarre, because to me the 3DS is still fresh and new, and I like the 3DS a lot. And it's old. What did that come out in 2010? Yeah. Or when was that?
2010, I want to say, yeah.
So it's been a while, and I don't really see any end in sight. I think if you keep having developers make great games for it, it can still keep going. For example, Rhythm Heaven on the 3DS. Haven't heard about that being localized. That's one thing I would definitely be pushing as president. Let's get that localized. In fact, while we're at it, as the president of Nintendo, oh, sweet Jesus, I would make sure that lots of these weird niche titles were released globally. So, actual Chibi Robo games, stuff like Captain Rainbow, just weird stuff. The JRPGs, I don't like them, but I know a lot of people do. I would absolutely be talking to the marketing teams and say, listen, your job is to sell this product. If you're not doing that, you're going to be replaced by somebody who's better at your own job.
I half agree with you on that. I agree that I think if I was president of Nintendo, I would also bring over a ton of these niche Japanese titles. But I would not release them. I'd be smart. I would not release them like on retail.
No. Yeah. I mean, they would be eShop releases.
eShop games, for sure. And I think I would outsource probably the localization, similar to what they're doing with Xenoblade. You know, the 8-4 guys are amazing. They're an amazing localization team. There's plenty of other great localization teams out there. I think I would outsource that. Similar to kind of what they did with Xseed and Pandora's Tower and Xseed and The Last Story. There were tons of like niche JRPGs that came out on Wii, and we haven't really seen that for a lot of the niche games that are on Wii U in Japan. So yeah, I would love to see that stuff come over. One other thing too, while we're on the topic of niche Japanese titles that I would definitely make a point in doing is, I know a lot of people are going to disagree with me on this, I think like they don't really need Western third parties anymore. I think Western third parties have all but given up on Nintendo, and you know, every launch lineup for all their new systems, they always say, we're serious about third parties, and then they bring out their ports, and then the third parties use that as their excuse, saying, well, oh, these ports didn't sell well, so we're not going to make games. You know what? Honestly, screw the Western third parties. I truly believe that they have enough strong content there if they reach out to their partners at Capcom and Sega and make the new system. Really, they just wholeheartedly admit that it's something outside of PS4 and, you know, Xbox. It's this big Nintendo system, and if a third party that's in the West wants to develop games for them, someone like Activision or Disney, where, you know, they have strong games like Disney Infinity and Skylanders that will sell well on the Nintendo platforms, you know, allow them to develop it, but don't put your hard-earned money and time into all these Western developers that are only going to give you a half-ass game in the first place. You know, take your time with the Japanese developers that will give you something that will actually sell on the platform. People like Sega, people like Capcom, and especially people like Square. I think that's one of the big reasons why I'm so optimistic about the NX, is because we've already heard that Square's on board releasing Final Fantasy XIV, releasing Dragon Quest X and Dragon Quest XI on the new system. I like what they're doing with Square, and I want to see that continue moving forward.
Right, yeah. I mean, as president, I would definitely acknowledge that we're not going to get the support from certain developers, and we don't need it, because the audience that wants those games looks at Nintendo as being for kids, and they're never going to change their mind. They're fanboys of their system, so we don't need Call of Duty or the next Madden on our platform. That audience doesn't care about us to begin with, so we're not going to waste any resources trying to convince them to buy our system. Instead, focusing on the strong points of what Nintendo does is what should be done. I think Nintendo with the Wii U is trying to focus on their weaknesses too much instead of focusing on what they do best, and that is something that I would definitely focus on.
I agree with you.
So yeah, with NX, I think I would definitely have had that in development for a long time. Since probably about end of 2013, I would have said, listen, we've got to really prepare for
Once
this.
Once they realized, all right, buddy, Wii U ain't going to do that.
We're not going to, this is not going to be turning a profit. There's no point in really trying on this anymore. It's not just going to happen anymore. Let's actually start preparing for a mind-blowing launch and a mind-blowing, you know, multiple years with the NX. So one thing that I would be doing right now, Zelda for the Wii U, release it on Wii U, but have a superior version for the NX at launch. That's
100% agree. 100%. Yep.
Now, another thing that I think you're going to disagree with is I would also be asking Mr. Miyamoto and the team making Star Fox Zero to release it on Wii U, but also give us an NX version as well that has that same treatment as Zelda. Because at this point, you know, the Wii U has got to be in its last, like, year and a half. Why, you know, it's just going to be dead. Why just make that for the Wii U? Make the launch lineup look that much better and put it on NX as well. And Pikmin 4.
I actually don't, Pikmin 4 for sure. But I actually don't disagree with you with Star Fox. I half-heartedly disagree because I think, like, them releasing it in February and then, like, adding more development time into it and then releasing it on NX, I'd be like, well, why did I buy the Wii U version as opposed to, you know, the NX version? But I do think that would be a smart move. I mean, we talked about this previously about the Super Smash Bros. Championship Edition that includes all the stuff from the Wii U and 3DS versions.
That'd be great.
At launch, I think that'd be great. And I also think you're going to mention this, and it's one thing that I would absolutely make sure happens if I was president of Nintendo. Alongside Zelda and alongside, you know, another maybe really strong port or maybe like a niche title that I think would just look really good, like a Wave Race or an F-Zero on the new system, I would make sure that at launch we don't have some new Super Mario Brothers game that someone doesn't care about. We won't have some half-hearted 3D world. We have a full 3D Mario game at launch for Wii U. I'm not Wii U. I'm sorry, NX. For NX. And and I would make that a top priority.
Yeah, same here. That's something that's been missing for a long time now. Not since like the original Galaxy in 2007 has there been a real genuine 3D Mario game. And even that, I would say it's a 3D Mario game, but it is still kind of more linear than a typical 3D Mario, but it's still a 3D Mario. But yeah, I think it's definitely overdue. We're overdue for that big, exciting, totally new, explorative 3D Mario game. 3D World, I mean, I don't think it was a bad game by any means, but it just didn't really do it for me. I was kind of bored with it, and it really just felt like kind of a multiplayer console version of Super Mario 3D Land, which, I don't know, it just wasn't that big. So we do need that, at very least, we need a 3D Mario in launch window that is really mind-blowing and really shows us what the new console can do.
Yeah.
And then just to wrap up really quick, one last thing that I would absolutely make sure as the president of Nintendo moving forward, I would absolutely continue to find ways to show people new ways to play games. There's a lot of articles where people are like, oh, just forget the gimmicks and just give us a standard controller. No, I don't think Nintendo can do that. They need to keep pushing the envelope. They need to keep introducing new ways to play. And I think NX is going to do that, and I think it's going to be great.
Yeah, based on some of those new patents, I think we might be seeing something cool with NX. So.
All right. President Roger, can you tell everybody where they can find you?
Sure, you can find me on Twitter, Tumblr, YouTube, Miiverse, Instagram, Facebook as RogersBase. And one last thing, Co-President Josh, that I want to mention.
Yes.
I would absolutely make sure that Pokemon Amiibo cards are a thing, and that all Pokemon cards from here on out have Amiibo functionality. Mic drop.
Boom, that would be amazing. There you go. We've already managed to fix the company. Look at us. All right, thanks for listening, everybody.
Bye.